brave enough for this journey. So let's get started.
Ilse Koch, also known as the Witch of Buchenwald. Ilse Koch, known as a member of the Nazi Party, subjected Jews, homosexuals, gypsies, and war prisoners to unimaginable torture in concentration camps. Let's take a look at the story of Ilse Koch, who is attributed as one of the most sadistic women in history. Let us introduce you to Ilse Koch, who overthrew the sadistic boundaries of her time. She is also the wife of Karl Otto Koch, the commandant of the Nazi concentration camp. The guards gave her the nickname the Witch of Buchenwald because of the torture she inflicted on the prisoners. Ilse Koch is among the most brutal women in human history. He was known for his fondness for tattooed bodies and would cut out the tattoos on the skin of the Jews he had killed, and sometimes decorate the skin himself and make bags, gloves, and even embroidered underwear. Survivors in the camp say that Ilse walked naked with a whip in her hand, and anyone who turned their head or blinked an eye was killed. After some prisoners were removed from the camp, Ilse Koch had the tattooed skins of these prisoners killed for her own crafts or furniture. Miniaturized skulls, faces split in half, or lampshades made of human skin are just some of the Nazi atrocities in which Ilse Koch was involved. She and her husband were arrested in 1934. They were accused of profiting from prisoners' wealth, embezzlement, and killing prisoners to prevent them from testifying. While her husband was executed in April 1945, Ilse was released due to lack of evidence. Ilse was arrested again by the Americans on June 30, 1945. He was sent to trial along with 30 other Nazis. It came as a great shock at the 1947 trial when Ilse Koch said she was pregnant, despite the isolation of the prison regime and her inability to interact with any men other than investigators. In order to commute her sentence, Ilse Koch had sex with one of the prison guards and became pregnant. He wasn't lying. She was indeed 8 months pregnant. However, there were also many rumors that he might have had relationships with prisoners and other officers. He was sentenced to prison on August 19, 1947. Even pregnancy couldn't ease this punishment. He was released 2 years later by American General Lucius Clay. Under public pressure, Koch was arrested again in 1949 and tried in a West German court. The trial opened in the Augsburg District Court on 27 November 1950 and lasted 7 weeks, during which 250 witnesses were heard, 50 of whom were for the defense. He was convicted of incitement to murder, incitement to attempted murder, and incitement to commit grievous bodily harm. And on January 15, 1951, he was sentenced to life imprisonment and permanent deprivation of civil rights. On September 1, 1967, at the age of 60, Koch committed suicide by hanging herself with a sheet tied to the bars of her cell in the women's prison. Before he died, he was experiencing delusions and said concentration camp survivors were harassing him in his cell. The suicide note was written to his son, Uwe. No other choice. Death is salvation for me. Subscribe for the terrible events of World War II, and don't forget to turn on your notifications.